You mentioned that the worst thing a business owner could do is to have layoffs every 2 months for the next 2 years. What's a better alternative to that?
My bias is twofold. You go through your scenarios as best you can, and if you know you're up against a wall, maybe you don't go all the way to worst case, but the worst of all is the situation where a company, and I've seen it particularly during the recession of the early 80s, a company will lay off 750 people month after month after month, which in the case of this particular company can demoralize 400,000 people. And so, my arguments are the following: transparency. As open as you can be, and you can be wide open. The rumors are always worse than the reality. That's number one. Number two is, even though you're being harassed, not by people, but by the situation around you, it is the time to show more thoughtfulness than ever before, because you are going to inflict serious mental damage on large numbers of people who you get rid of, and stress on all the rest who may have their hours cut or their pay cut, or who do think they're going to be the next ones in. I don't think it's just an old man talking. There's decency, and decency matters to human beings. It matters afterwards. We are going to come out of this thing, presumably. And, there are people with great reputations and people with awful reputations.
You mentioned that you've fallen desperately in love with the German mid-sized company, and I'm wondering what characteristics they have that makes you feel that way.
Fundamentally, the Mittelstand companies are companies that are incredibly focused. They've picked off a niche that, by and large, is a niche that you might expect Germans to pick off, meaning devoted to science or engineering or stuff that really involves incredibly high quality. And, we did a PBS show on them 8 or 10 years ago. And the funny thing about it was, we didn't find any Six Sigma quality stuff. We didn't find any empowerment programs, because that's who they are.
What, if anything, can small business owners in the U.S. do to instill that same sort of value system or way of operating in their own companies?
Well, it's difficult in a way to say in the context of the reason that you and I are talking, the Fortune Small Business Summit, meaning that we have a lot of really go-get-em people who are devoted entirely to growth. I keep getting back to this thing about, it's all about developing people. And that's the key to profit, and it's the key to customer, satisfaction being one word, but the far more important, customer retention.